You're watching North Dakota's Hidden History on KX News.
Leroy Satchel Paige, 6'4", 180 pounds. The man known as the hardest throwing pitcher in baseball history towered over a baseball mound as a much larger-than-life character. His witty, confident personality, matched with talent really never before seen, made him a walking myth.
There are many hidden stories chronicling the tale of the great Negro League hurler, and one of them circles back to Bismarck, North Dakota. During the late 1920s and early 1930s, North Dakota, like many states across the country, was embroiled in financial despair due to the Great Depression. Paige electrified the state, as he did so many other towns, winning game after game, fanning batter after batter, and captivating audience after audience along the way.
Ray Strickland brings us the story of a baseball legend who made a mark in the early days of baseball, and he did it right here.
Think of Satchel Paige as a cake with all the right ingredients. Throw in the pitching power of a Roger Clemens, add a little bit in control of a Greg Maddux, and for some kick, the flair of a Pedro Martinez. That makes the likes of a Satchel Paige. He was undeniably the talk of every town he pitched in, and the chatter grew louder and louder every time he stepped on the mound for a team he calls the greatest he's ever played on. So what do you know? That team resided right here in Bismarck, North Dakota.
His entertaining style and his skill was something never seen here before and never have since.
About his style, if Satchel didn't steal a pair of rings, we may have never seen it. Funny, right? But it's true. He had sticky fingers as a kid growing up in Mobile, Alabama. As punishment, a 12-year-old Satchel was shipped to what would be considered a juvenile detention center in today's world. His coach, Edward Bird, taught him his hallmark delivery, a high kick with his arm so far behind him it could reach the back of his leg.
Oh, he had all kinds of funny names for his pitches.
Those silly pitches would propel Satchel to rarefied air. From California to Kansas City to Pittsburgh and Cuba, Old Satchel was a household name. When he was barnstorming, he fronted a team called the Satchel Paige All-Stars. On the opposing side, a young Joe DiMaggio. He called Satchel the best and fastest pitcher he's ever faced. But in the midst of an amazing career, his journey led him to Bismarck, North Dakota. Satchel pitched in North Dakota for the first time in 1933 and again in 1935. A local car salesman named Neil Churchill rounded up some of the best talent, no matter the race, but Paige, he was the showstopper. He finished undefeated with 14 wins and 2 ties. The Bismarck team in 1933 didn't lose a single game after Paige signed to the team. In 1935, Paige pitched more than 30 games for Bismarck. Of course, he won majority of them, and it was a sign of what was to come the entire season.
He was just such an overpowering pitcher that there was nobody that could hit him with any consistency.
He was the leading force behind one of the greatest teams that no one has ever heard about. It featured greats such as Hilton Smith and Ted Double Duty Radcliffe.
They got an invitation to come to this tournament, which was the first National Baseball Congress tournament ever held, first national tournament, and as you know, they won it.
It was the first time a fully integrated team in any sport won a national title, yet Paige's stardom and success didn't shield him from being treated like a second-class citizen. Despite the unfair treatment, Paige was still revered by many. After leaving Bismarck, he went on to pitch for many teams, including in Minot, North Dakota. He won the Negro League's 1942 World Series with the Kansas City Monarchs. Perhaps the most significant, the Cleveland Indians. Paige became the first black pitcher to play in the major leagues and the oldest rookie ever at the ripe old age of 42. But he didn't disappoint with the Indians. Paige won 6 out of 7 games and helped them win the 1948 World Series. So if he would have pitched in the majors in his prime, who knows how the story of Satchel Paige would have changed. But by all accounts, we know it would not have been pretty for the batters.
Thank you for taking this trip with us through North Dakota's hidden history. I'm Jim Olson.
And I'm Lauren Kahlberg. Good night.
Good night.
This has been a KX News special presentation of North Dakota's hidden history.